Hello, hello, testing. Good evening. We will start the webinar. Nachiket sir, Nachiket sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes, let's start the webinar because
yes,
7:10.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Good evening all. Myself CMA Vinayak Kulkarni and CMA Ashish Bhavsar welcome you all for the series of webinar on Excel macro. Today is the last session of the series of webinar on Excel macros. The topic covered in today's session will be macro protection, assigning password, importing and exporting modules, calling sub functions across modules. The speaker for the entire series is Nachiket Pendakar sir. I welcome Nachiket Pendakar sir for the today's webinar. Sir, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Vinayak Kulkarni, sir. And good evening to everyone. So today happens to be the concluding session. I hope my voice is well audible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay, thanks for the confirmation. So today is the concluding session. Let's try to make the most of it. Okay, some of you or many of you, in fact, have made it a point to attend all the 10 sessions. So congratulations to you for your energy, enthusiasm, and perseverance. Okay. So what we will do is we will first address those topics which are still pending. There are a few small things. Actually, they are not topics by themselves, but simple, small things are there. Yet they are quite important. So I would like to take up those things. And then, if time permits, if you remember in our last session, we had discussed, I think that happened in the last week on Monday, because on Wednesday it was Women's Day, so we postponed the session. But then on last Monday, about a week back, when we had our session, we had discussed that we would like to take this because there was not going to be any other session during the week. So we would take this as an opportunity to practice. And accordingly, I had shared the Google Drive link, and I had uploaded some exercises also. So it is possible some of you might have tried those exercises, and we can discuss solutions to those exercises post the completion of the remaining topic. Okay, let's plan the agenda for the day accordingly. Okay, so first thing is, if you remember last time we had discussed about uh, uh, a user-defined function, right? And at that point of time, we had taken example of this sum round function. Okay, there were some teething issues on that, some issues related to some new developments in macros. Even I was not aware. Apparently, Microsoft made some changes in the settings, and we Googled and we fixed it. So let us practice it once more today. Okay, today we will develop a new user-defined function. Last time we had read or we had observed. Okay, today we will develop it from scratch. Okay, that is the idea. For that purpose, we can open any new Excel workbook. I will share my screen. So I'm sharing my screen now. And let's say if I come to this exercise files, and I would like to just add a new workbook. So I just do a right click, new. Uh, okay, I'll click on this Microsoft Excel sheet and I'll call it, I'll just give it a name 09 UDF. UDF is short form for user defined function. And I'll call it EOQ. So we all know this concept of economic order quantity. Okay, we all have studied it at inter level. It's a very basic idea. And maybe some of you might be using it regularly. But unfortunately for us, Microsoft has not introduced any function for it. Can we have a function for the same? That is the point. Okay, what is economic order quantity? How do we calculate that? Everybody knows, but still I will write it down. So economic order quantity is nothing else but it is under root. I'll just put a square root sign. Okay, you need not do this with me. I'm just doing it. There's a square root sign here. Okay, so under square root, as we all know, it is, so I call it ABC. So basically, uh, the root AB upon C. I also cross check the formula. Honestly, it has escaped my memory also. Twice, if I quickly check the formulas, under root twice ABC. Okay, AB upon C. So under root, we have 2 multiplied by A into B, and this divided by C. That's the logic. So I'll just put this in a pair of round brackets divided by. So I remember it this way. You might be using some different notations. That is fine. So under square root twice of A into B. So what is A? A is annual demand for any inventory unit, and B is buying cost. Okay, so this is also known as ordering cost. And C is carrying cost. This per unit per annum. Okay, sometimes people also refer to it as storage cost. So different terms may be used, and accordingly, different synonymous terms may be used. Accordingly, different notations may be used. But this is the basic idea. So under square root, I would like to take twice of A, that is annual demand for any good, and then multiplying by buying cost or ordering cost per order, and the whole divided by carrying cost per unit per annum. So this will give me an economic order quantity, which mathematically, if I order in my, this should be my order size basically. If I place orders of this size, then my annual demand will be met in the most efficient manner because the total of my buying cost and carrying cost will be minimum. That is the idea. We all have learned it at some point. Can we create a function for this? If I type equal to EOQ, I can see there is no such function as EOQ. Can I create a new function called EOQ? Let's take that up as a challenge. So in this new Excel workbook, I would like to press Alt F11, and Alt F11 is the keyboard shortcut to quickly go to Developer tab, Visual Basic. Shows me Visual Basic. We launch Magnifier as well. Okay, I hope everyone can see this clearly. I'll go to the Insert tab module as usual. Now, last time we made a mistake. It wasn't a mistake, but Microsoft made a change that your module name and your function name cannot be the same. I was not aware of that. This is something Microsoft updated quite recently. So, moral of the story is I'm not going to bother to rename this. It will save my time as well as it will save me from that issue. I'll just give it a name function. Okay, what am I writing? I'm not writing a subroutine now. I'm writing a function. So that function is EOQ. Okay. Now you must try this with me. Okay, insert a new blank module. Just come to this workbook. I'm talking about this new Excel workbook. Okay, it's a .xlsx file to begin with, and I'm trying to insert a new module, insert module, and that way I got a new module. It's a blank slate to begin with, and I would just like to write here function. And then I write EOQ because the name of the function is EOQ. Maybe in caps I'll write EOQ, and I'll hit enter. Now, because I wrote the word function instead of sub or subroutine, now it says end function. So you start your function here and you end your function here. So, okay. Sorry. So function, end function, subroutine, sub, and sub. That way it goes. Okay. Now, there is one very important difference between the two. The function and subroutine, there is one huge difference between the two. Functions cannot be used for modification in the worksheet. See, I can use a subroutine and I can write codes so that I can insert columns, I can delete columns, I can change the format, I can do many things. I can do anything and everything. I can delete a worksheet, insert a new sheet. All these things I can do with the help of subroutines. Functions, on the other hand, are meant for calculation. So you can calculate, you can compute something, but you cannot bring about any modification in the workbook, worksheet, cells, rows, columns. Okay, you can only compute. And in Excel functions also, we have arguments, right? If I take a simple function like if function, it has three arguments: logical test, value true, and value false. So if we want to denote arguments, what will we do? So we have this round bracket, right? Function EOQ, open round bracket, close round bracket. I did not really type it, but the moment I wrote EOQ, the moment I wrote like this and I hit enter, Excel automatically inserted this pair of round brackets. So inside this pair of round brackets, I'm going to write something. Okay, what will I enter? Now let me decide that. Okay, so what are we going to enter? So we have three inputs, right? The square root and 2. Square root is a concept. Okay, how to derive square root, we'll see that. But square root is not a variable. 2 is a constant. Square root is like a computation. It's an operator. Just as multiplication, division, so we have a square root. Okay, that's an operator, and 2 is a constant. So there are three variables that I can see: A, B, and C. Annual demand, buying cost or ordering cost, and storage cost. Okay. So let's say I call them as AD, BC, and CC. You can think of better variables, you can go for that also. Okay. Or you can define variables just for ample clarity instead of AD. Another idea could be you actually write. So I'll write it this way: ANDEM. Okay, so this is just a suggestion: ANNDEM, and then I'll declare it. Okay, this is going to be my first argument. Type along with me. So in a pair of brackets, till now we had not touched. Today is the last day. At least today, let us touch this. Okay, in a pair of brackets, what are we going to write? We are going to write the argument. As far as annual demand is concerned, what should that be? Your demand can be a large number, can be a small number. Your annual demand can be a decimal number also, especially for divisible inventory. So if your inventory happens to be oil, you can have half a liter, quarter of a liter. You can divide it as much as you want. So I would like to, rather than assign the type double, the biggest possible container I would like to have here. So annual demand as double. Then I put a comma. The next argument is going to be my buying cost. Again, that can be any number. I don't know, small number, large number, and it can be a decimal number for sure. So I'll just call it buy cost equal to as double, and similarly carry cost as double. Okay, my argument names are slightly big than I would normally desire, but now I think I'm amply clear. And I myself have typed them as either capital or small because they are two words. For some reason, I thought I'll write it this way: and demand and them, buy cost, carry cost. Okay, you can define it the way you want if you prefer. And for each of them, I have assigned the type as double. Okay. What do you expect in case of function? Your EOQ will also be a number, right? Some other number. So that itself you can have as a type. So outside the bracket, inside the bracket there are arguments, and I have defined the type for each of the arguments. Ultimately, a combination of these variables is going to yield me EOQ value. What will that value be? It's a number, and it can be in decimal, it can be anything. So I would like to perhaps assign double to it as well. How do we do that? We have EOQ, then we have in a pair of brackets this entire argument set. After that, you can simply write as double. So to whom is this as double assigned? This as double has been assigned to EOQ. Okay, EOQ and as double. Okay, are you getting it? So I'm just making some preparations here. Okay, some variables have been defined. Okay, for your convenience, if you want, whatever I've written to here, I can quickly copy paste that in the Teams chat. I'm pasting this in the Teams chat. Okay, I suppose everybody can see that. So this is just a start. From where will I get? From where will I get these values? These values will be supplied to me by the user, because user is going to insert this function. Am I right? User is going to use this function and he's going to insert it. He'll open a bracket and he will give these three arguments. Based on that, I just have to make a calculation. So how the calculation is written, just make some space and I write EOQ equals to. So this is how you calculate EOQ involving these arguments. EOQ equals to. Writing a function is damn easy once you know what is to be done. It requires much lesser coding, because in a function, you are not going to make any modification. It's not some task that you are doing. You are making a computation. So often that involves very less code. Functions normally involve much lesser code in comparison with a subroutine. So what am I going to do? I'm going to derive a square root. I would like to highlight that square root in Excel is a function. So we have a function called sqrt. Okay, can I use this function in VBA? Maybe I can just write, I can put that in a square pair of round brackets. I can raise it to the power 1 by 2. And I can always write it this way also, right? 4 raised to the power 1 by 2. This is also square root of 4, that is 2. So something like square root of anything, 484. Suppose. I have to put I get 22. Okay. So this is how I can derive square root. I don't deny that. If I wish to derive square root, this can be one way. You raise it to the power 1 by 2. But it will be fun to make use of functions, and just in case somebody has forgotten, it will be a good revision that we have a code called application.worksheet function. And that way, any function available in the worksheet can be used. Do we have sqrt function? Interestingly, sqrt is not there. So I just said any function, but I think I said it too soon. So for some reason, best known to Excel, sqrt as a function I can't see. I can say sqrt pi. Uh, what is sqrt pi? Square root of pi, I think. Square root of number into pi. Okay, number into pi and its square root of a complex number. But square root of a number is simply not present. So on second thoughts, I think we don't have any other option but to raise it to the power 1 by 2. What am I going to do? I'm going to write the expression twice into, and instead of typing, I would like to copy paste twice into annual demand, okay, into buy cost, always copy paste, divided by, okay, this is the expression. And if you want, you can take it in two steps just for clarity. So this is basically square of EOQ actually. This is without square root sign. So final answer will be EOQ equal to EOQ raised to the power 1 by 2. This is going to be the final answer. So I'm doing this in two steps. In the first step, I make the computation without, like, whatever is inside the square root sign, and then I take out the square root just to finish the matter. That's it. It's a two-liner code, according to me. Okay, what I have written is this. Let me copy paste quickly for everyone's reference. While I'm copy pasting, but then I hope everybody is trying this. This is a very easy thing. You must definitely try to create functions for practice sake, easy things. Does this work? Let me see. And before I see that, I would like to save my file. I've been getting this notification. I've been kind of, putting it aside because I was discussing the concept. But I noticed that I got this message that can't auto save because VB projects must be saved in a macro enabled workbook. So I have auto save enabled. Okay, my auto save is enabled. Okay. But then right now temporarily it is turned off because it has VB projects because the file extension is .xlsx. You know this concept now. So the solution is given to me here readily. In your case, it may not be such a ready-made solution. In that case, you can click on File and then click on Save As. We'll save it. So what name was it? I don't know why this name has come up. It was basically, if I remember, 09 UDF UQ. That's what we called it. UQ. Okay. And the file extension is Excel workbook.xlsx. I'm going to change it to macro enabled workbook. Okay. The extension may or may not be mentioned, but you in any case choose macro enabled workbook. And this is the name. I'm going to save it as that. After doing a save as, now this notification has gone. Now I think this should work. Okay, now this is a .xlsm file. It supports the macros. Does it work? Let us see. So just for example, I have A, B, and C. Okay. Suppose annual demand is 20,000 units. Purchasing cost is 500 rupees per order. And let's say carrying cost is 12 rupees per unit per annum. Okay. And this is per order per unit per. Now, what is EOQ? That is the question. What is EOQ? Can we determine that? Either you build the expression or just use EOQ function. So now EOQ appears as a function in this workbook because we just now developed it, right? Just now wrote a VBA code for that. So now EOQ appears as a function. Now the problem with UDF, and I suppose, I hope Microsoft will work on this someday. The problem that I can see is EOQ is devoid of any arguments. Not only EOQ, but any UDF doesn't flash the arguments, and this creates a difficulty. You need to memorize. If you have created your function, you need to memorize your argument. It is somewhat burdensome. Be that as it may, you show this value. Then this is the second value. This is the third value. Don't bother to write the expression. You need not know which is in the numerator, which is in the denominator, whether there is a square root, whether you need to involve 2 or anything. Just put the values, close the bracket, hit enter. I get this as the answer 1291 practically. Is that the EOQ? Those who know EOQ can cross check. Maybe on internet I might get an EOQ calculator. So in fact, thousands of people have already Googled for it. EOQ calculator. So Zoho apparently has a calculator, online calculator. We can just put it and we can check whether our answer and Zoho's answer tally. 20,000 units. Ordering cost is 500 and holding cost is 12. Sorry, if I feed this and on this online calculator of Zoho, answer do I get? I get the answer calculate. I get the same answer, 1290.99. Okay, I get the same answer here. I increase the decimals. You can see the answer tallies. Up to third decimal it tallies. Okay, so I'm not saying something out of thin air. Just I'm cross-checking it with an EOQ calculator, it tallies. So now I can use this as a function in Excel, right? Have you understood till here? Anybody has any questions to ask at this juncture? You can try with some other examples also. Cross-check with Zoho calculator. You do that individually. I've tried it once. Okay, any questions, anyone, conceptually or otherwise? Anybody has any questions? The whole macro is already shared with you. When I say the whole macro, it's actually just a two-liner macro. It's a simple function that we have created. Remember, functions are only for calculation. You cannot insert a column, you can't delete a row or something. You can't lay down conditional formats and all the things. Mainly for computation. That's functions are exactly for the same purpose where you'll use Excel functions. What can you do with Excel functions? What you cannot do with Excel functions? The same thing cannot be done with VBA functions. Got it? Is everybody clear till here? If any questions, please ask me now. If anyone has any questions. Yes, somebody has any questions. What I would like to do in that case, I think nobody has any questions as such. So let's just extend it to this entire Excel application, should we? Can we extend it to entire Excel application? Right now it is in this workbook. Okay, let me save and close this file. What if I close this workbook? If I open a blank new Excel workbook, is EOQ function available in the other workbook? Now it's no more there. EO month is there, but EOQ, that has gone. So what if I want to extend this to the entire Excel application so that in any file and every file, this function should be available? We had seen that also last time. Let's finish that part. Okay, what I'll do is there is, I think, a little confusion with two files. I'll delete the file which is .xlsx. I'll retain the file which is .xlsm. Okay, this macro enabled worksheet I'll retain and I'll simply delete the other one to avoid confusion. So UDF EOQ, this workbook, I'm going to open it once more. It is a macro enabled workbook. As per my macro security settings, Excel will ask me whether I want to enable the macros or disable. Default is disabled. But then I want to enable actually. So I'll go for enable. And what did we do last time? Last time also we did this. What did we do? We saved it as a .xlam file. That is Excel add-in file. Okay, we need to do that in order to make it available at the application level. So let's just finish it. File. I click on file. And then I click on save as or save a copy as the case may be. File, save as, save a copy. And I'll change the extension. Okay, I'll change the extension. If you want, you can change the name also. Okay, I'm going to simply call it EOQ. Okay, you can change the name. And most importantly, change the extension. Extension should be Excel add-in. Simply Excel add-in. There is a 97 2003 add-in also. Don't mix up with that. Simply Excel add-in. Yeah, either the extension is visible or not visible. If visible, Just cross check, it should be .xlm. Otherwise, at least the wording should match. Excellent. EOQ Excel added. Then I click on save button. Where did it get saved? It got saved to a different path. It did not get saved to the same path. Or did it? I think it did get saved here. On the second thoughts, first I'll save it as add in once more, and then I'll rename it. I shouldn't have renamed it earlier. Excel add-in. Because if I don't rename it, it might show. No, it's not showing. Okay, forget it. Let it be. Doesn't matter. For some reason, in my case at least, it has got saved here only. But that's fine. A great deal. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll go to File, and then I'll go to Options.
So by default, where does it get saved?
So by default, actually, what happens is if I open this a new workbook, then I don't have that memorized. File save as. If I rename it as a Excel add-in, by default it goes here. I can see over here. Let me put that in Teams chat also. Default path for product. So this is where it goes. Okay, it may not be LG in your case. Okay, mine is an LG laptop, so it is showing LG, but somewhat similar path you will see. Okay, you try to save as any other file as a .xlm file, and then it will automatically flash this path. Okay, right now for some inexplicable reason, it got saved at the same location, but that's hardly germane to our discussion. So I'm not going to be too bothered about that. Main thing, wherever file, whichever file is open, please go to File, then you go to Options, File Options, then you get these Excel options. Okay, I'll go to Add-ins. Takes a few seconds sometimes. Eventually, I get these add-ins, and then I've got this Manage Excel add-in. There I'll press Go button. Manage Excel add-ins Go, and then you'll have to browse for your add-in. Okay, you'll have to browse for your add-in. Now, by default, it actually opens that path, the roaming Microsoft add-in. But at least in my case, if you can see the file here, fantastic. Go for it. Since I can see it here, it has gone to that path. So I go to desktop, ICMAI macros. Here I got UQ file. So I'll select my file. You are supposed to browse for your file wherever it is located, either in the default location or in some other location, doesn't matter. EOQ, I press OK. So now EOQ gets added as a new function, apparently. The new checkbox with a default tick, I'll press OK. That's it. Okay, you are supposed to go to File, Options, Add-ins. File, Options, Add-ins. Within Add-ins, you press this Go button. You may not see your add-in. Click on Browse. Click on Browse, and then you browse for your add-in. Okay, wherever it is. Show that add-in and press OK button. Then you can see your add-in. Okay, and then I'll press OK. Finally. Once you can see this add-in enlisted and ticked also check box, press OK. Now this add-in is a part of my Excel application. Okay, equal to EOQ, it is visible. What you might do is might close the entire Excel if you want. Okay, I'll not save this file. This is just a book too. Don't save it. This file also I'll close. Don't be an iota of doubt also. I'll in fact close the entire Excel application. No Excel is open. Okay, I don't have Excel open at all anywhere. And then I launch a new Excel application. Altogether, new application is getting loaded. If you observe carefully, you might see opening this, opening that, now opening solver. In my case, at least, I've got plenty of panels. Now opening EOQ, can you see that? So while it gets opened up, it loads these add-ins. So that's where if you load too many add-ins, your Excel will actually become very heavy. Do you want that? So you need to ask yourself, do you really want that kind of a heavy Excel add-in? Anyway, so I'll just write here equal to EOQ and you can see it's available. If I try to reconstruct the values, the same values, try to reconstruct the table. An example was, it's not showing me the example, it's basically 20,512. If I quickly key in these values, 512, and if I quickly insert EOQ function, this is my first argument, this is my second argument, this is my third argument. I must memorize this. And I press enter, I get the same one. So in any workbook, in absolutely any workbook, in any cell, you can insert EOQ. Now this is your own user-defined function. This is your function, which you have developed from scratch, and you have it on your Excel. Okay, and this makes you a little privileged possessor of your Excel because only your Excel has EOQ. No one else's Excel has EOQ. Which also creates a difficulty. Why? Because if you create this file and send it to me by email, if I open it at my end, I'll get a hash name error because my Excel on my computer doesn't recognize this function, doesn't know anything about this function. So it will return a hash name error. Okay, so you should be very careful. Ideally, user-defined functions should be used only and only when you are going to keep it to yourself. Sorry. Okay. Now, what was I saying? So create these functions only when you want to keep the calculations with yourself. If you are going to share the workbook with others, you cannot use UDS. You should not, because others won't have the same version. So in that case, you should try to create workings in Excel using some other function. Okay, using the existing functions and formulas, try to combine them and create your own or create your own formula. Have you understood? Any questions on UDFs? We discussed UDFs last time also, and today also we have discussed. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Yeah, just grab a bottle of water and you can think over and ask questions if any. All right. Is everybody feeling comfortable? Are you in control of this animal called UDF or user defined function? I hope this opens up a new dimension, a new possibility, and I hope you will make use of it. Now, let me cover some miscellaneous points, small, simple things which you should know, and that will perhaps give you more power. For that purpose, I'll close this workbook, just a book one. I'll go to some other macro. It was, I think, one of the prior examples we had. We downloaded from my Google Drive. No, I don't think I have it here. Okay, no problem. So I think I'll go for variables, just for example. Because this file also we had worked upon it. Or I can do something very simple. I think I'll close this file. And I can do something very simple. I can come to this macro code library. Okay, I've got this macro code library. Now this has modules. Yeah, I've got 3 modules here, macro code library. And I can do one thing. If I want to extend this module, for example, I've got this module called library, okay? It has many useful codes. If I want to incorporate this macro into another file, how can I do so? There might be another project in which I want to do, I want to incorporate this. So what you can do perhaps is you can just do a right click and you can go for export file. You export this module outside and then you can import it. So this opens up as a great possibility. Okay, any module or anything that you have over here, any code can always be exported. You can always do a right click, export file. You can save it anywhere conveniently. Okay, I'm going to save it here. You save it anywhere, doesn't matter. The file name is library. If you want, you can rename it. But it gets saved as a .bas file. Okay, it gets saved as a basic file. I press save button. So what have I done? I have done a right click, export, I have shown the path, and I press the save button. Get stored as library.bas. I want, I can close this file as well. If you check, in your exercise files, now you have one more file called as library. This is extremely lightweight. If you check the size, it is just 10 KB out of, if I go to library and check, this was 31 KB. Okay, most of the file was nothing else but this particular module. Okay, and that was weighing 31 KB. Now the size of this is just 10 KB. So it is efficient to have smaller code. I mean, if you want the code, then you just keep them as smaller .bas files. And at a later point, if you want to incorporate that in a new file, let's say I open an altogether new workbook. Okay, and I come here. Please choose your project very clearly. Come here, this project book 2 that I have. Okay, and within that, I'll insert one module. So I got book 2 here, book 2 project. There are many projects. Please don't get confused between them. Choose your project correctly. It's a new file. Don't again follow me blindly. It may be book 2 in my case, and it could be book 1 or book 3 in your case. Let's not quarrel on those points. I got book 2, and then I'll go to insert module and create a module. Or why should I insert a module? Sorry, my bad. My bad. I'll remove the module. Okay, I'll just make sure that the project is selected. The right project is selected. Once you select the right project, then you do a right click, import file. Last time we had exported it, now we'll import it. From where? The same path you show your and press open button. Automatically you get it as a module. In modules, you have library as a module. This is where you get it. I would like to highlight that this is a part of book 2, actually, the new workbook. Okay, just by doing a right click on any module, you can either import it, you can import something, you can export something. Okay, if you want to delete, what will you do? You will click on remove. And when you click on remove, you get these options. Now, many people, they kind of they are very heavily programmed. So when they read these buttons, yes and no, they think since I'm deleting it, it's seeking a confirmation whether I want to delete or I don't want to delete. This is not about whether you want to delete or you don't want to delete. Deletion is going to happen. The only question is, do you want to export library before removing it? If you choose yes, you'll get a chance to export it first, then you can delete it from this particular project. If you say no, still it will get deleted. Many people feel that if I press sorry, if I press no, then deletion won't happen, especially if you have accidentally chosen. People hurriedly press no. Unfortunately, even in that case, they have lost it because the only thing that is going to happen is before deletion, there won't be any export. So this no is for this export. Export won't happen. What if you want the deletion itself to be cancelled? Then you click on cancel. Cancel is the correct button if you want to prevent. If accidentally you ended up clicking on this remove library, you should press cancel button and not yes or no. Yes or no, both will take away the module. The only question is whether it will be exported or not exported. Are you getting it? So import is easy, export is easy, and we have also seen how to remove it. Okay, these 3 points are clear to everyone. Very simple ideas. But if you have any questions, feel free.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, yes, yes. Please go ahead.
See, my question is like this. We
Mhm.
created the function, user-defined function, okay,
Mhm.
and then we made it available to all the Excel files which we open in our system,
Correct,
okay.
correct.
So, see, once we do that, then what will be the need for me to maybe importing that in a particular newly opened file? Why
No,
it
no,
should?
this is a different topic that I started. That had got nothing to do with functions. See, remember what I opened? I opened library.
Okay,
Library was not a function. It
okay,
was a compilation of code. It was a subroutine. If you observe,
okay,
library is a subroutine. It is not a function. So I'm saying that any code that you develop, for some reason you want to do a copy paste
okay,
because there are elements of similarity in what you are trying to automate. You had already automated something. From there, you want to borrow the code, and code is largely the same, 70%, 80% the same. You may consider it wise to copy paste the entire code first and then make necessary changes. So that
okay,
your job is only 10-20%, and then your entire macro will be ready.
okay.
Okay, in such case or in any other case, if you want, you can first export it, then you can import it, you can remove it. All these things are possible. But it has got nothing to do with function. That was a different idea. And now we began another idea where we just
Uh,
discussed how to import,
but,
how to
but
export.
but the same purpose will be served by, see, if you, I mean, I'm opening, for example, the library file. I wanted to the list of those already available those codes.
Right.
I wanted
Correct.
to export it to another way. So the same purpose will be served by doing a control C, control V also, no? I do a control C here
So,
and open
there
the
is no
Visual Basic in
control.
the new file and then do a. Is
Acha,
there any
for the
difference?
entire code, control A, control C. Right? Is
Uh,
you highlight the entire thing, control A, control C, and control V. That way
uh,
also you can.
so that will also serve the same purpose, right?
There are certain differences. So, since you have brought this topic, I would like to highlight. You know, you can do the same thing in Excel, in the front end of Excel with a worksheet. Okay, you
Okay.
have a worksheet, and the sheet may have some data. So
Okay.
if I quickly randomly insert some numbers here, okay, I have quickly generated some numbers. Now you may do one thing. If you open a new workbook, either you copy these numbers and you paste it here, paste them here, or another idea is don't do it this way. Okay. The other idea could be you do a right click on this sheet, which for some reason I'm not able to do right now. But I go to Home tab, and in Home tab we have something called as Format. If I click here, Home tab Format, I have Move or Copy Sheet. Normally by right click we get it easier. Fine, I'll go for this Move or Copy Sheet. Let's say I choose a new workbook from here. Let me choose to create a copy. Here, what happens? The entire worksheet gets comes to a new file called Book 4. I have an existing file called Book 2, and whatever is the worksheet here, the entire worksheet gets copy pasted. Now you may ask me, you may raise this question that it seems to be one and the same. What's the difference between the two? So there can be many differences. Okay, in a
Okay, sir.
worksheet,
I understand.
have,
I
have
understand that. On this, I understand. When you are, copying or moving the sheet, you will get it in the new sheet with the same properties. Like if you have frozen some window panes and all those things, it will all come with the same thing. If you have some
And
page
now
titles and all
if you
those
have
things.
learned
Okay.
macros, when
Okay.
I do a move or copy of a sheet, you might have a sheet driven macro at sheet level. Okay, if I double click here, in sheet one, there might be an event driven macro.
Okay.
Even that macro gets copy pasted when you go for a move or copy sheet, but not when you do a control A control C.
Okay. Understood,
Okay.
sir. Yes. Yes.
Similarly, if I come back to this library here, okay, I'll take this your question as an opportunity to discuss the next concept on agenda as well as satisfy your question. That is, now I got this module called library. What I can do with this module is uh, actually not at a module level, but actually at a project level. This won't be the best example actually. Uh, but maybe if I go to view tab and click on properties window, maybe some more properties are visible. Right now, actually for a module, there is only one property that is name. So I think it won't create a huge difference. I think it will be one and the same thing actually. Okay. Nonetheless, let me discuss one more concept, and that is workbook protection. Sorry, macro protection. Okay, not workbook protection. We'll see macro protection. What do I mean by that? If I click on this tools, okay, I've got this macro. Okay, not this one. Maybe some other one. Let's say that macro code library itself. Okay, library as the entire file. Okay, let me open this library. Surprisingly, it did not ask me a question. And then I click on Visual Basic. I get this copy folder, library, user form codes. Okay. Now there is some this this file has many codes, and I don't want anybody to tamper with these codes. I don't want anybody to play any mischief, nor do I want anybody to even accidentally access it and thereby open up a possibility that he might change something, even unknowingly, even innocently, if he changes. That's going to be a bad news, right? So can I avoid that? So what you might do is this will happen at a project level, so it doesn't matter where you are in this or this or this. Just come somewhere, and then you go to tools, then you go to options. Okay, and over here, if you come to this, sorry, not tools, options. Beg your pardon. Tools and VBA project properties. Okay, I beg your pardon. Please come to tools, VBA project properties, and then you come to protection tab. Okay, can you see protection tab? Within protection tab, you have this option called lock project for viewing. Okay, any macro, you can lock it for viewing. You can give a password. I'll give a very simple password, say ABCD right now. But otherwise, you can give a proper password with alphabets, numbers, anything. There is no condition as such from Microsoft. You can type anything. I'm just typing ABCD and make sure that you have clicked this lock project for you. Okay. You put your password, press OK, and then let us restart this file. So this file I'm going to save and close. Okay, now if I open that file once more, okay, I close that file. Now I'm opening it. Now if I go to Visual Basic, as far as this project is concerned, I don't know, for some reason I've got three files. I got three files open. For some reason, I can see multiple files. Doesn't matter. I think if I click on any of these, nothing is going to open. Right? If you try to open macro code library, I don't know whether you are able to see three or one. I can see three of them. Uh, these ones are opening. Can't tell you readily why. Let me do one thing. Let me close the entire application. I have closed the entire application. Now let me try to open this file. Okay. Now this file has come up. Now I'll quickly go. Now I can see only one. Now if I click on that, it is asking for a password. Okay, if I go for this particular project, okay, 19 macro code library.xlsm, there it is asking for a password. If I give the password ABCD, then it will open up. Only, in fact, only then it will open up once I give the password. How to assign a password? You will go to tools. Okay, you will come to tools and you will come to VBA project properties actually, and then go to protection tab, lock project for viewing, and give a pair of passwords. That is same password repeated twice actually. Okay. Have you understood this protection aspect? Macros. This is to prevent unauthorized edits, unauthorized tampering of the values. And okay, anyone has any questions to ask?
Uh, if you want to remove the password also, when we know the password, I can delete the password and save it without password also, right?
Correct. Same thing you will have to do. Now let me show that. I want to remove the password. Okay, now this contains password. So I'll just restart it. Start it. Let's say I open the file once. Again, I should have closed the application, but okay. Now it's asking for the password. I supply the password. Right now, on this project, go ahead and tools. Protection tab. I'll uncheck this and remove the password. That's all you will do. Okay, once you open the password, open it using password, then all this is accessible. Just remove the setting. And now if I close this file, okay. And over here again I can try. Now here it is there by default, as you might see. Okay, so this is how you will remove the password. Inserting password is also easy. Removing
Okay, sir.
also.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions, anyone? Any other questions? Dinesh Kumar ji has asked a very pertinent question: how to crack passwords. Okay, cracking password is like a tax evasion. Your question should not be how to evade tax. The question should be how to plan tax. We have two concepts: tax planning and tax evasion. Tax evasion has negative connotation. As civilized citizen, we should not be evading taxes. But taking advantage of legitimate provisions of taxation which give benefit to the ICC, that is called as tax planning. And there is nothing illegal. In fact, as a professional, it may be construed as your duty towards your client to help him plan his tax. So he ends up paying less tax in a legitimate fashion, in a legally acceptable manner, okay, legally as well as morally. Okay, it should not be just an anomaly in tax laws that should get bridged. You know, at the very least, legally it should be allowed. Similarly, cracking the password is not the most appropriate term. So I understand your sentiment. Your larger question could be this way: how to recover my password? What if I forget my password? Yes, this happens quite often, right? We all forget passwords. There are hundreds of things reminding password. It wasn't like 20 years back or 25 years back. At the most, you would enter your email password. Okay. Now there is password to absolutely everything. And then remembering so many passwords is a Herculean task. We end up forgetting passwords. That's common. And normally there is a mechanism to recover it by way of some mobile OTP, email OTP, or something like that. Unfortunately, there is no such mechanism in case of Microsoft. What Microsoft has done is Microsoft has just made it available. There is no official recovery mechanism. But then you get password crackers. Yeah, they very much use the term crack. Okay, so password crackers. You can Google on that. So you will get lots of links. More specifically, you write Excel VBA password cracker. Because even normal Excel sheet has password. Are we talking about that? The answer is okay. So you can take help of those password crackers. They are freewares. You don't have to pay anything and you don't require a superior technological knowledge to use them. They are simple utilities. You can use them. This is a little matter of shame for Microsoft. I feel that they haven't really introduced any official mechanism to recover passwords. I find that a little, that's where Microsoft loses for because there should be a provision for that. And especially for Microsoft 365, they can do that because they have the user's email ID also. So let an OTP or something go to user's registered email ID. From there, he will put the thing. Maybe that can be done this way, that way. It can be done. It is not there, or it can be a security question based on that. Sorry, even that mechanism is absent. Okay, so the only resort is you will make use of password crackers which are available online. Ideally, don't lose your password. Much easier than said than done. Okay, any other question? Anyone else has any other question to ask? I'll move to the last concept, last new concept, and then we will see what to do in the remaining time. And that is calling subroutine. Which one should I take up for this purpose? Demonstration stake, I'll take variable. I'll take the file variable because this file had many variable types. You can and you should try this with me. Open the file on variables. Very simple concept, let's learn that. We have a module on variables. I would like to copy paste this module. How to copy paste? So I can just do a control A, control C, but better than that, I'll just invoke the idea that we discussed a few minutes back. So I'll do a right click, export file, storing somewhere temporarily, and I'll import it there itself. I want to create a copy then and there, not elsewhere. So again, I'll import file. And the same thing I'll try to bring. So now I've got two things, variables and variables one. Okay, I exported it conveniently and then I imported it from the same place. I'll just rename it. It by default says yeah, by default the name is variables one. Instead of that, I'll define a different name from properties window. Let's say I'll call it variables calls. Something I have to write, so I have written variables calls. We'll learn how to call subroutine. Okay. How do we go about doing that? So I have many types of variables. It is also considered a good practice to have small subroutines and then you can call them. For example, I've got the sub variables. Maybe I can just call it, instead of calling this as sub variables, I'll call this one as sub integers. I've got a subroutine called integers and I'll use the command end sub here. Okay, sub integers, and the moment this subroutine is, this concept is discussed, then we have a variable of integer type. We have seen an example of that. Before the next one begins, I can put an end stub. And then I can give a name to the next one. What is next one? Next one is string. So I'll just call it, for example, substring. Yeah, I can use string. So let's say I'll call it strings. Strings I can write. A string you cannot write, but strings can be written. I use substrings. And then I would like to write here end sub. Okay, like this you can make small portion. Okay, sub integers for integer type. The next type starts, it automatically becomes substrings and sub. Can we continue it for the other ones? I want you to try this with me. After the end sub, I'll again write here sub, and the next is double. I'll just put plurals everywhere, doubles. Okay, I'm just putting plural because the variable types have their own meaning. So integers, strings, doubles, and you know what ends up the booleans, ends up eights, ends up subvariants, and then ends up. Ends up is already written at the bottom. If you have come till the last one, then you don't have to write ends up again. It's already written at the bottom. Okay, with this green line, a new variable type is marked. Wherever you see a green line, just before the green line, you write sub, and whatever is the type given in the green line, accordingly you give it a name in plural. Is my suggestion. So that way it won't conflict. Sub integers, sub strings. What have I done? Have you understood what have I done? Okay. I might end up writing a long macro from top to bottom. It's normally considered as incomprehensible. Okay, to have, let's say, 200 lines, 300 lines together as a single macro. Then it is suggested that you divide it, your entire macro from top to bottom, you should divide it into small portions of code. And then you can call them. Okay. So for example, here I can write call things. Okay, very simple command. When am I writing it? I have sub integers, and sub related to that. And just before the end sub, I say call strings. Make sure you type it correctly. What is this line going to do? It will start the execution of the command here, then it will come to this line, this line. Till here it will run, and then it will, because it's written call strings. Okay, this is a new line truly speaking. Call strings. So it's written call strings, no? It will come here. This string. And then it will automatically execute another subroutine. So from one subroutine, we are jumping to another subroutine. Yeah, and we are doing the needful over there. Let us see if this works. First of all, let's see if this works, then we'll see about the other thing. Guys, everyone ready? Sub integers. And I've got this call strings. Just size this window a bit. Okay, should I try it? It's fine. So I can just press F8. Sub integers. It is declared x as integer, that's fine. X equal to 9, range a1 dot value, and then call strings. Can you see it has jumped to strings? Okay, it has jumped to strings. Now subroutine strings, same company as variable, company's IHS global, range a2 dot value. Now ends up. There is no call command before ends up, so it's going to end here. Actually, what it has done is, if you have observed, I said call strings, so it went to strings, it executed strings completely, and now it has come back here. So now it's going to end the subroutine. Okay. So this subroutine was not over, but then you called another subroutine. That subroutine was executed, and then you returned back here. And then this, there could have been more lines of command also after this. There was none, so it just finished. Okay, so it can happen this way also. Have you understood what has happened? Let's have another look at it. Before I do that, I would like to clear what is already written. What I'll do is I'll quickly assign call command to some more. For example, I've got call strings. Right here, call doubles. Please avoid spelling mistake. Call booleans. Call date. And call variables. Now this is going to be fun. Okay, everything has come up. Call. I put up a call command before end sub of every. Okay, we don't practically do it this way. Wherever required, we use call. But then it could be this way. Call strings, then call doubles, then call boolean. We are calling one by one each of them. Right till call variance. Call variance is the last one. Okay, let's try it. Vivek equal to 9, puts 9, then goes to strings. A2 company. In A2, we are going to pour company. What is company? Company is ISS global. All doubles. So now it has come to doubles. Q has been assigned a value. Okay, the variable Q. A3 is Q. Last record equal to 2 that we are putting in A4. POB is this. Has been assigned a value, a format. Range A5 is this. Okay, let's not quarrel on, let's not discuss too much on the date format. We can always play with that. Our focus is on call. Okay, so pay more attention to call. As you press F8, 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 you can see whether another subroutine can be called as a part of one subroutine. Call variants. I put variants, so many values. And now I come to end sub of variant. Variants was the last thing, and there is end sub for that. So when I press F8, now it will go reverse. End sub of variants is over. Okay, and call variants was here. Entire variants, including end sub, is over. Now it comes back. Who knows? There could have been more lines of command after this. So it comes back. But the next line of command is end sub. When I press F8, now the funny thing is it goes back because this is a part of dates, right? Call variants was inside dates, and dates itself was called as a part of Boolean. It goes back. Do you have anything more further of call dates? Nothing actually. So it goes back. Now Booleans was a part of doubles, and doubles was a part of strings. Strings was a part of integers. And now this is the end. Have you understood? So we had called many portions of commands like this, one after the other. We just went here and there, here and there, here and there. Then eventually we got this. Have you understood this command? Okay, only one new command we have learned. That is call. How to call. I think I've already pasted it. How to call a subroutine while you are inside another subroutine. Call followed by the name of the subroutine. That's all. That's all you need to. Where we use it, we typically use it to make our macro decluttered. Okay, everything you can write in one module, that is one idea. When I say one module, actually one subroutine. Everything inside a single subroutine, that is one idea. I personally do it that way, to be very honest with you. I don't really bother to break it because this has never been my style. And by the time I became aware of this, I was too habituated. So I don't use this style, but it is my job to make you aware. What is more popular, yeah, I dare say it is more popular. What I do is less popular. But what people generally do is they break their macros into small portions. It's easier to handle them that way. Okay, everything is broken down nicely. Here is black lines. You can have them in the same module or you can have them in another module also. And give names to each of them. Then call them. Okay, whenever required, call them. Either go sequentially the way I've shown you, or there can be a particular task which is done again and again. For example, last row. Last row needs to be determined. Last row needs to be determined again and again, multiple times. You can have a subroutine called last row, and you can just write call last row, call last row, call last row. You don't have to repeat the command again and again. That's another reason. Okay, if some portion of the command, it's not a loop exactly, but some portion of the command needs to be executed again and again. You can park it at one place, give it a name, make a small subroutine by itself, and in your main procedure, call it whenever you want to. Okay, keep calling it. That you can do. Okay. Have you understood this? Any questions on this call? Call concept is clear. What is calling a subroutine? That concept is clear to everyone. Hello. I hope that part is clear to everybody. If you have any questions, ask me. Just a moment. Can you excuse me for a minute? I think somebody is calling you back. Just give me 1 minute. I'll be right back. Hello. Sorry. Okay. I still don't see any questions as such. So I think this small part is clear to everybody. I would like to move ahead in that case. I was just about to forget one last concept. Again, a very small one, but a very interesting one. Did we happen to discuss this before? I don't remember very distinctly. Since today is the last session, I want to finish it off. And that is very hiding worksheets. Did we happen to discuss how to very hide worksheets? We all know how to hide worksheets, but did we happen to discuss how to very hide them? Okay, I don't think we have discussed this before. For this purpose, I request you to come to this macro on. I'll just pick up one at random. Let's say appendix E macro. Okay, appendix E macro. Open this up. Now you have got the client list. Okay, for some reason you don't want to really show the client list. What you might do is you might change the properties of client list. Now you might not be even developing a macro. Okay, but this client list is a very sensitive piece of data, and you don't want this to be accessed by those who are not having that authority. You feel either they will tamper with the values unnecessarily. Another thing that may happen is somebody might misuse these values. For whatever XYZ reason, you don't want anybody to access this sheet client list. Okay, it's not even a question of writing a macro. For whatever reason, this sheet needs to be hidden. Now, if I just do a hide, if I go to Home tab, I go to Format, I go to Hide and Unhide, and if I hide a sheet, okay, if I hide this particular sheet, I think there is already a hidden sheet here. Okay, if I click on Hide Sheet, this also I have hidden. Okay, if I hide a sheet, the thing is, if I hide, somebody else can unhide because you get some hint that data is flowing from other sheets also. You get to see this. Okay, there seems to be something like unhide sheet. If I click on unhide, this is the hidden sheet, client list, and if I press OK, now it is visible. So if you hide, another person can unhide. So this hide seems to be rather temporary. Can we do something about it? So the idea is only one workbook, right? For some reason I can still see this macro code library. Should be some issue. Anyway, so I've got appendix E macro. Forget the other projects. I'll focus only on this project. Now this project has got two sheets: dividend details and client list. I'm talking about client list. So please select client list. Okay, please do this with me. This is damn simple. We are not even going to write any commands for this. But this is a part of VBA. Okay, where are we? We are in this window, right? VBA window. Because we are in VBA window, I'm making this discussion as a part of macros. We are not going to write any command for it. Yet it is extremely useful. So appendix C macro is my file. I highlight this sheet, and in properties window, can you see a number of properties? Sheet has many properties. When we do a move or copy of the sheet, all these properties get carried away. So there is a huge difference between, there can be a huge difference between copy pasting data by doing a control A, control C, control V, and copy pasting the entire worksheet itself. Okay. Among other things, there is one property called visible. Can you see? We have the visibility of the sheet, and we use this drop down. If you want, you can change the visibility. By default, it is visible, but then it can be hidden also. Very interestingly, it can be very hidden. So if I'll choose this very hidden, Excel sheet very hidden. Okay. Visible property, from the drop down, you click on Excel sheet very hidden. You might get a feeling you did not click properly, but trust me and trust yourself that you did click it properly. Because what has happened is the moment you clicked on very hidden, you might see that, oh, it is still Excel sheet visible. But which is your sheet now? Now your sheet is dividend details, not client list. Okay, if you click on client list, it is very hidden. Dividend details is visible. Now, if you go back to your Excel, you can see that this sheet is visible. Even if you get some kind of a notion that there seems to be one more sheet which might be hidden, and you may explore that possibility. You may go to Home tab, Format, you may try to unhide it, but hold it, unhide sheet is visible. So somebody who hasn't learned macros, somebody who is not aware that we have something called as developer tab. The part of that we have something called as Visual Basic. If I click on that, a new altogether new window opens up. In that we have sheet properties. Okay, if I select the sheet and go to the properties window, I can see the sheet properties. And I'm talking about the visible property. The visible property, I set it as Excel sheet very hidden. So, we go about doing. Have you understood it? Yes, have you understood? Now this part is clear to everyone. Anyone has any questions to ask? Okay, you can very hide worksheets. And again, to change the status, if you want to make it visible, again, you will have to come to this macros window. You have to select the sheet and you'll have to make it visible. Only when you change the property to visible, now you can see the client list. Okay, so there can be sheets which are visible. Okay, there can be sheets uh, which are present, rather not visible. They are present but invisible. Okay, they may contain some data which is used in some functions formula, but they are not visible, and it is not difficult. It is not easy to make them visible. Because your normal unhide option actually doesn't let you unhide. So very hidden sheets cannot be unhidden. Only hidden sheets can be unhidden. Have you got it? This is another simple yet very helpful concept, I think. If anyone has any questions, you can ask.
I'm sorry to ask this question. I did not get the difference between hidden and very hidden. Can you
Sir,
please?
hidden sheets can be unhidden from the front end of Excel. See this client list. Okay, if I hide this sheet, okay, if I come here and if I use hide, okay, if I hide this sheet, what Excel does is Excel says that this unhide is enabled. Can you see this unhide is in black color?
Yes.
That means there are hidden sheets. If I click on unhide, you can see client list is a hidden sheet.
Okay.
Unhide option, which sheet to be unhidden? This sheet.
Okay.
You can press OK and make it visible. Did I go to developer window, the this Excel VBA window? The answer is no. I handled it completely using Home tab. Okay. But
Okay.
then if I go to developer, if I go to Visual Basic, if I change the property here
Mm.
to very hidden, property is very hidden.
Okay.
Now, what is property of client list? The answer is it is very hidden. Now, if I come back to Excel, this sheet is not visible. That is one. Can you make it visible using the Home tab, Format, Visibility, Hide and Unhide? The answer is no, because the unhide is not clickable.
Okay.
The
Okay.
unhide is in gray instead of black. That makes it that's disabled. So while I have a very strong feeling that there is some sheet here from where values are being borrowed, but where is that sheet? I can't access it. Unless you have at least rudimentary knowledge of macros, unless you have gone in that direction to explore macros, you won't even know about developer tab. The developer tab itself may not be visible.
Okay.
Even if developer tab is visible, you should have the mind to come here and to check the visibility property and such things. So this is not very commonly known. Generally, um, I would say 999 users out of 1,000 are unaware of this. And if you want to hide a sheet, this is a better way than normal hide. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, now that we
Meaning
have,
if it is very hidden, I can open it only through changing the property in Visual
yes,
Basic. Okay.
correct,
From the
absolutely
front
correct.
end of Excel,
Uh,
it cannot be done.
yes.
Okay.
From
Thank
front
you.
end, it
Thank
cannot be done. Now I've got this client list. Now, if I want to make it visible, I'll change the property. This is the only way.
you.
You
Okay.
change the property and then it becomes visible. So unless you have this much knowledge of macros, you cannot play with it. So this is a safer approach, I feel. This is a more sophisticated approach uh, because hiding sheets, unhiding sheets is known to everyone, but this may be known to 1 out of 1,000 people. Like it. Got it?
Okay.
Anybody else having question? Okay. So what we will do is we'll try one macro. I think we have time. These are simple, short concepts that we discussed today, and we have some time, good time, I would say. So I would like to try one macro over here. Some homework exercises were uploaded the last week. Anybody has tried that? Anybody wants to share his or her own code? Three homework exercises were given. Anybody wants to share his or her own code?
Unfortunately, I could not locate those exercise files. So I thought nothing was there. What happened?
Yeah.
I think I went for a wrong link or something.
Not really. But what I did was even there was a slight lapse on my side also because I uploaded them only on Wednesday. I was going to upload them on Tuesday. Tuesday being festival, I actually missed it and then I uploaded on Wednesday. But then thereafter they were there. In any case, I'll make it. I'll share the link once more. Okay, we may not get time to try all three today, but the other ones you can try. I'm just sharing the link for everyone's
Yes.
knowledge. This was shared last time also, just in case you have missed that link. Just copying this link once more and let me share it over here. And that way you can borrow the files. Okay, I've shared a link. You can download the files from there. Right now, download all three files and keep. I would like to go for one particular macro. Uh, the biggest is, according to me, SSC results compiler. So I'll go for this macro. It's something we'll develop. Okay. And if you pay attention to this one, then the other two you can find easy, which I will urge that you solve at home. Okay, SSC results compiler, I'll give you a background about that. So it gives you this task, okay? Now this has got nothing to do with your work life, but we must practice and we should take moderate examples. You should not take very hard examples, otherwise you might feel discouraged. So this is a simple example. I've tried to cook up a simple example and which might uh, give you practice. Okay, prepare a summary table based on student performance. So I cooked up some data. Yeah, I got some format and I cooked up some data. The point to be driven is point to be taken is in every sheet I have got a standard format. Okay, there is some standard format in every sheet, right? And what am I supposed to do from each of these sheets? I'm going to pick up. I've got another sheet for summary. I'm supposed to make a table like this. So I've got a column A. Okay, this is column A. This is column B. And over there, I'm supposed to make this summary where there are these headers, and then I'll combine the names of the students. I'll compile their marks of mathematics, marks of science, and then total of maths and science. A total of only maths and science. Okay, if you see, this is more like a mark list having all the subjects, but I don't require all of them. All I want is maths and science. The format is standard. You must study first. First, you must study. Is this the standard format or is it varying? The format is standard. You can take advantage of that. As I switch between the worksheets, maths is always found in the 9th row, science is always found in the 10th row. You have total marks, but total marks is total marks for all the subjects. I want a total of maths and science separately, which I can derive. So how will I go about writing a macro for this? So what I'll do is, we have some limited time. So I'll write the macro, you can observe. Again, I'll suggest that you try to observe right now. You can write along with me. I'll still be going at a fairly good pace, not at the highest pace. But at any point, if you feel that writing the macro is coming in your way of understanding it, okay, I don't want you to be just clerks or parrots here. So you focus more on understanding, and then I'll upload this in that folder. Okay, eventually I'll upload this solution also over there. Okay, so I just press Alt F11. This is the file. I come here. This is the project I'm talking about. I'll insert a module. It's a blank module under SSC results compiler module. So what name should I give? Let's say I call it sub compiler. Okay, first thing that comes to my mind, I want a compiler to be created so that it compiles. This was a .xlsx file. I immediately get this notification to save it as a .xlsm file. Let me do that first. Okay, save as. I'm going to save this right here with macro. I'll call it solution. That was the question, and this is the solution. This is a .xlsm file. Okay, a new file is created. Solution. I'm attempting a solution. I'm saving it as .xlsm workbook. So now it can be auto saved. Now let's begin. You want to have this compilation. In column A, I want this, column B, column C, column D. Can we write the headers? Let's write the headers first of all. Okay, where are we going to write the headers? So we can write them here itself in A1, B1, C1, D1. Now the question is A1, B1, C1, D1 of which sheet? Of any sheet? They belong to the sheet summary, right? We have a sheet called summary. They belong to the sheet summary. So what I can do is I can write this command. This you can get from actually the library also. But right now you can type worksheets. I'm going to type worksheets and not worksheet. Normally these things go in plurals in VBA. We have discussed this. Cells, worksheets, rows, columns. Okay, like that. it is used. Worksheets into bracket summary. I like to copy paste. So I'll actually copy from here. Okay, I'll just double click here. Gets highlighted. I do a Control C. And in a pair of double inverted commas, I do a Control. If you miss that double inverted commas, you have had it. If you write it this way, okay, let's say dot select or something. Excel is not going to stop you. Excel will not flash a red colored line. Excel will not say syntax error. But this only means summary is a variable. Do you wish to treat summary as a variable or a particular sheet name? So we are not talking about summary as a container, which might contain some other value, but summary in a fixed, in a constant sense. So make sure that you don't miss this double inverted commas. And I'm not going to really write dot select. What am I going to write? I'm going to write dot cells. Now this is my style. I write it with this hierarchy. Worksheet name followed by cell position, and I go for the cell position using R1 C1 notation. So first the row, then the column. So row is 1 and column is also 1 to begin with. So 1 comma 1. Just to what header do you want? When the header can be copied, why should you type it? Student name is what I want. What you want. Right? Student name. We're going to paste this in a pair of. So this is what I say. I say that in the worksheet summary, in the cell 1 comma 1, I want student name. Okay, this is what I want. Right? Now this I want in 1 comma 1. Similarly, in 1 comma 2, that is in the second column. I want marks of maths. In the third column, I want marks of science, and in the fourth column, I want total. These headers are crystal clear. So now, if you have written this first line, okay, to aid you, I can copy paste the lines as we develop it. Okay, this is my first line. If you have written the first line along with me, what you might do is you might copy paste this 4 times. You are talking about 4 headers, right? Very quickly, if you want to write the macro, write it this way. Then just change it 1 comma 2, 1 comma 3, 1 comma 4. Okay, copy paste it. No need to change the row. Row is here. First is row. Second is column. You change the columns. Only the column changes, not the row. Row is 1. And of course, the header changes. What is the header? Just press F2, go inside, copy, and paste it here one by one. It will save your time. And more importantly, it will make sure that you won't end up goofing up into the headers. Okay, student name, marks of maths, marks of science, total. Okay, we got it. Now the headers are there. Can we compile the marks? Where are the marks here? How do I get the marks? What's the logic? What is the logic? Let's see. Marks is also subsequent. How will I get the student name? So there are 2 ways in which you can get the student name. You have the name here. You have got a field called name. And I find that more reliable. The sheet name. The sheet name also has name. But if I've got a field called name, I'll rely on that more. So I'll pick up the name from this sheet. Okay, from this cell, which is in the 4th row and 2nd column. That's where I've got the name. I've got maths marks here, science marks here. And then I can take a total. So total will be total. This I have to repeat for each sheet because like this there can be, let's say, 100 students also. There might be 100 sheets. I'm supposed to repeat it. So let me go with that. And I'm supposed to pour the values in the different rows, right? So I can use a counter for that. So I'm not going to pour it in the first row. First row is all about headers. I'm going to pour it from second row. Second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row. That's where the marks will be there. So to begin with, I'll define the value of counter. I'll use a variable called counter and I'll define its value as 1. Okay, and then I'll keep incrementing counter by 1. And then I'll pour the value. So whether this oral discussion is clear or not clear, but just type counter equal to 1. Okay, and the subsequent parts will be clear to you. I just define counter as 1. This is going to be a counter, that's one. And then I use my loop, favorite loop, that is for next loop, for I equal to 1 to 1 till what? I'm supposed to process all these worksheets, right? The loop is for the worksheets. The repetitive activity is for the worksheets. So I'm going to say for I equal to 1 to sheets, again sheets dot count. When you put this dot, okay, you get this drop down. Unless you use sheets, you won't get it. If you write sheet dot, then nothing will happen. Sheets dot count. As many sheets as they are. Okay, starting from first sheet till the last sheet. Keep processing it. I press enter, enter few times and then I write next type. This is my habit, you know it. The moment I write the for line, I'm going to write next line. I don't want to goof up in that. Okay, Lilia? I'm supposed to process all the sheets, right? But then, am I supposed to process summary sheet? Not summary sheet, right? Summary is also a sheet, the part of the workbook itself. So what do? We have handled this situation before. Summary itself can be a sheet, but I'm not supposed to process summary. So I'm saying if sheets I, yes, small I equal to 1 to sheets dot count, but if the ith sheet, if sheets bracket I equal to summary, again I'm not going to do a typing work. Typing work is damn risky. If not a spelling mistake, you will goof up in the case. Capital, small, small, capital. But don't even give that remotest chance. Just do a copy paste. If sheets are equal to summary, then what to do? Then go to next time. Okay, I'll use go to command. If my ith sheet happens to be summary, I'm not interested to process it. I say go to next I. So what is next I here? Next I is a label. I copy this next I. I would like to place it just before next I. Okay, next space I is a command. And next I, NEXTI, a collection of alphabets. This is a label. How do I tell Excel this is a label and not a variable? Variables and labels are two different concepts. I denote that by putting a colon against it. Okay, I'm just marking this area, this particular location. Okay, this location is next time, and over here in another command I'm writing go to next time. So go to next time means where? Here. You will jump here. So the location has been marked. Okay, then I'll continue. If it is next time, if it is summary, then it will go to next time. What if it is not summary? If it is a sheet like this, what to do? Then I'm supposed to process it. How? I must pick up the name. I must pick up the maths marks. I must pick up the science marks, derive a total and pour them. That's all. Okay, pick up these values, add up maths and science, that will be total, and then pour all these four values. Okay, three values to be caught, fourth value to be derived, and pour all four. Here I go. You can give a variable, let's say I call it sheet name. Sheet name equal to sheet small I dot name. I used a variable called sheet name. Sheet name equal to sheet small I dot name. And then I'll use the same line, which I have already written above. I'll kind of invert it, but I can at least use this portion. I use copy paste very liberally. Even if 50% I will have to change, but 50% is going to work, I go for copy paste. I don't really go for typing. What do I have? I got name, but if I just write name, that could be risky, right? Because name is a command. If I just write name, then I can't have name as a variable. What do I write? Student underscore name. Student underscore name can be written. I'm writing a student underscore name, and I'll paste this part and this worksheet summary. Instead of that, I'll go for sheet. Everywhere, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. I don't want summary. I don't want this double inverted commas. Now I actually want to use a variable. So worksheet sheet name, where sheet name can assume different values. Dot cells with cell fourth row and second column, right? At the intersection of fourth row and second column, I'm going to write here fourth row and second column. See whether you follow this. Okay, student name is worksheet sheet name. Now the order has it got inverted. Whatever is on the LHS is the receiver, and whatever is on the RHS is being received. So now the variable is the receiver, and what is it receiving? It is receiving this cell's value. Okay, student underscore name. I catch the name of the student in this variable. Now maths and science. So probably I can use the same words, maths. I'll just do a copy paste from here. Copy paste is a quick way. I mean, it's efficient also. It's accurate and efficient. And it is not fourth row. I just need to change the row. Which is the row? Row is ninth row. Column is second. Row is ninth. I just change the row to 9. Similarly, science equals to science is in 10th row. Science is in the 10th. And then total, can I take total? Total is a special word. This became capital T automatic. So I just use TOT. Tot. Total. Okay, TOT, what is that? TOT will be maths plus science. Not take the risk, I'll better copy paste. Okay, TOT is maths plus science. Student name has been defined, maths has been defined, science has been defined, TOT has been defined. Now let's just finish it. Let's just pour it. Where are we going to pour it? We are going to pour it in this worksheet called summary. We have the designated cells. But before we do that, let us increment the counter. We have a counter here. We define it as 1. Now here I am going to write counter equal to counter plus 1. Ideally, we should copy this word counter. Yeah, ideally, we should copy this, return it. Counter equal to counter plus 1. So counter to begin with is 1. Now it gets incremented by 1, becomes 2. Now I say Let's go. Probably I'll just copy this line here quickly. The same sheet, no problem in sheet, but when it comes to row, the row is going to be counter row. Okay. Summary is the sheet. Last time I had written row number 1. Now I'm not saying row number 1 or 2 or anything. Counter row. Counter's value will keep changing. To begin with, it is 1. Then when it is processing, it will become 1 plus 1, 2. So the first student's marks will be entered in the second row. Because in the first row, there are headers. Okay, so 1 plus 1 will become 2. And then in the counter row, where counter is 2, in its first column, the student name will be written, not student name like this, but student underscore name, which is the variable. Correct? This I place over. You have student name here. Getting it? Okay, and this I can now repeat. This worksheet summary says counter comma 1 equal to student name. Very quickly, I'll repeat 4 times. Copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. On the LHS, the sheet is just the same. The row is also counter row. Only thing column will change. Second column, third column, fourth column. Yes or no? Please don't feel confused. I am saying we are adding the marks here. We have a preview over here. I've already given you the output expected. So you write the student name here, then the marks of math, marks. It's in the same row, right? Same row, different columns. That's all. So the same row, just the column difference is there. And of course, I need to change the variable. What will be the variables? I'll prefer to copy paste. So maths over here. Next variable is science. Next variable is science. And the last variable is TOT. TOT is a derived figure. As far as the student is concerned, you are through. So this student, Vietnam, name, math, science, TOT, and we get it. Okay, so this program is over. That's all. This is the bare minimum program. You can decorate this further by putting a message box, by turning off the screen updating and such things. I'll waive off those points right now in the interest of time, but you can do that. Okay, this is the bare minimum. Okay, are you understanding this macro? Anyone has any questions on this part, in this macro? Okay, we have written it from top to bottom logically in one go. Let me share the entire macro in the chat box. This is the complete macro. Those who want can copy paste this macro. Okay, the files are also uploaded. I have also shared the link, Google Drive link. Okay. Anybody has any questions on this? Any questions on any part of the logic? Whole macro is in front of you. If you have any questions, ask me. Just sip a little water. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's test it. Probably some of you are clear, some of you are unclear. Some of you are exercising blind faith. Okay, let's not exercise blind faith. Let's just test it and see whether it works. Okay, let's quickly test it. I've written this code. I also pasted the code in the chat box. Those who could not write, those who preferred to watch, can at least copy paste from the chat box and we all can test it together. Okay. Here I'm having a summary sheet. I've got many other sheets. What will I do? Let's F8, I get started. I must put the headers, the student name, the header is put. This is a very simple command. I hope everyone is following this one. In the worksheet summary, cells 1, 1, we are putting student name. Student name, that itself is the value. Then marks of maths, marks of science, as you can see. Okay. Total. So these values are put here. Okay. Now counter equal to 1 is assigned to the variable counter. This is 1. And now let's assign the other values. So for I equal to 1 to sheets.count, how many sheets do I have? If I bring my mouse pointer, there are 7 sheets. First is the summary sheet and some more sheets. And if sheets I equal to summary, what is sheets I? I to begin with is 1. And what is the name of the first sheet? I can quickly check that using widget window also. I can copy this sheets I. Okay, I think I might get an error. I think I'll have to write here sheets I dot name. Sheets I won't have any meaning. So small correction, sheets I dot name. And that's exactly what I've written here also. Okay, so small correction. That's why testing is so important. Sheets I dot name. This is summary. So sheets I dot name, if I bring my mouse pointer here, sheets I dot name, it might show. I think it is not showing. Or we can evaluate this entire thing. Sheets I dot name equal to summary. Is it indeed summary? In immediate window, you can put a question mark and then paste your expression, press enter. True. That is true. Is this the case? Yes, it is the case. So what to do? If sheets I dot name equal to summary, then go to next time. So it comes to next time. We don't do anything. So just go to the next thing. Next sheet. Next sheet is not the case. Next sheet is Joshi Parinay. So we'll just catch the sheet name. For some reason I have written this, but I didn't use it thereafter. Okay, let it be. Sheet name equal to sheet side dot name. What am I doing with that sheet name? I'm not doing anything. Let it be. Student name. My active sheet is still summary, but I can catch the student name from another sheet. Actually, I'm using sheet name here. Sorry. Sheet name is very much being used here. Maths. I'm capturing maths score 84. Science is 54. What is 84 plus 54? Simple arithmetical expression. Total is 138. You don't have to use a sum function. Don't go to the cell. Don't go come to this cell and insert equal to sum. Something like that. Equal to B2 plus C2. Or equal to, RC into bracket minus 2 plus RC bracket minus 1. That is not needed when you have VBA. That will be a naive approach. You can do that on day 1 or day 2. But doing that on day 10 may not look good. Okay, we need to progress. So you should make these intermediate calculations in the memory itself. And then let's just pour. Counter to begin with, we initialized it to 1. Now it gets incremented by 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. Becomes 2. And now let's just pour the values. Joshi Parinay Mohan comes in A2. Maths score, science score, total. That's all. That's all we are expected to do as far as this student is concerned. We can go to the next one. Next one. Goes up. Is that the summary sheet? Now this is sheet number 3. Okay, sheet number 3 is also not summary. In fact, we are already through. If one sheet is summary, the others cannot be summary. So you can easily follow that condition won't be satisfied, so it just comes down. Now the sheet name of the next sheet, and accordingly the next student's name, his maths marks, his science marks, his total of maths and science is derived. Counter is 2, gets incremented to 3. 2 plus 1. Counter equal to counter plus 1. And in the same set of columns, but in different row, we are going to pour the values. So the next student's name is put here, maths marks, science marks, total marks, and next time. Have you got the drift? Like this, one by one, sheet name, the next sheet name, student name is captured, maths, science, total is derived, counter is 3 becomes 4, and we just pour the values. So we can go on like this. If you have understood, I can just press F5. When I press F5, in one shot we get this. Got it? If I have to show you a replay in full speed, what I can do is I can go to developer, go to these macros, have this macro called compiler, just press run button, and I get it almost instantly. Almost instantly I got the result. Okay, you can decorate this further. We have written the code which is essential, which is the bare minimum code. You can bring more polish to this. For example, in this solution, actually I have given you things in bold. You can take that as homework, how to make the headers bold. Okay, make the headers bold. You can auto fit the column after you finish the work. Auto fitting should be done at the end. You highlight this entire thing and do an auto fit. Okay, those kind of things will make it look even more presentable. You can put message box at the end that marks have been compiled. You can turn off the screen updating at the beginning and then turn it on back at the end. These kind of things you can put, and then your macro looks more sophisticated. Not only looks, but it behaves in a more sophisticated. Okay, but at the very least, this is there, and this is the essential part of the macro. The vital part of the macro. Other things are optional, but this is mandatory. Okay, so there was just one small correction in this one. Each side dot name. I'll just copy paste this once more. The final product. Okay, this is the final product. Anybody has any questions to ask on this? We still have 1 minute officially. Okay, anybody has any questions?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello.
I had a question like, in my previous organization, one of the person has developed one user form, one shortcut in a desktop. When you click it, it will open one form like sales invoice. I put the data in sales form, and it get printed and automatically data saved in backup file. And there is one another tab like report. When I'll put on report and filter the date, mention date over that from start to end date, it generate data in Excel in another form. So he has done through Visual Basic. So if I want to do this, what exactly I need to learn?
Yeah, definitely you need to learn user forms. That is one. And apart from that, it all depends upon the nitty-gritties of your task. But we have discussed all the other essential elements. We are not missed out on anything except user form. So user form was not included in this particular discussion. So as a proxy to user form, maybe you can use worksheet itself for now. User form is a form. It's a way to capture. You can design a form in a sheet itself. Okay, you can designate cells. You can ask the user to fill the values and press a button. And then the values can be transferred from whatever he has typed. On pressing the button, it can be transferred to some other sheet. It can be created as an additional row. Okay, you can try to take up that challenge and try to see if you can formulate the logic and if you can figure out the codes. Okay, it will be a little higher level macro for you. So first, I suggest you practice simpler tasks, but you can do. We have discussed all the essential elements. Just that it is a little practice is needed to that. It's like you have a car, and we have discussed how to drive the car fundamentally. Now you have two cars, and in between there is a space for exactly one car. You are supposed to use reverse gear and park your car in the middle of two cars. Now that requires a little bit of skill, okay, which you cannot exercise immediately. So you should know how to exactly park your car in the middle of two cars, where exactly one car space is there. Okay, that will require a little bit of skill and practice, but that can happen only when you basically drive the car generally. Generally, you take your car on reverse gear. So the point that I'm trying to drive is more practice will help you. That I won't recommend that you should take up that immediately because you may or may not be able to do that and you might get discouraged. But you take smaller examples and try to automate them. Even though there may not be great necessity to automate, still try to automate. Even if it saves you half a minute or 10 seconds, which you may consider, okay, 10 seconds saved, what big deal. That's not the point. We are trying to develop the skill. And as you develop the skill, slowly, steadily, you add more things to it and then you do that. Okay, so user forms is something we haven't studied, but everything else we have studied. User forms, maybe in future, if people want, we can have an advanced macros kind of a session at a later point. But that is something dispensable. You can design forms in Excel sheet also. Excel has validation controls. You can lay down validation controls and design a form, and then at the press of a button, things can happen. That's also possible.
One more
That will be
question
my
that
recommendation.
can you suggest your YouTube channel some, or if you have any own channel in YouTube, so where can you learn we can learn more over there.
So I don't really have a YouTube channel, and I am not very much sure about YouTube channels, to be honest with you. I don't really watch YouTube as much. But then I can suggest you some books way back 12, 13 years back. I used to use a book called there's a Excel Macros for Dummies. This was by John Walkenbach, but then I'm not saying uh, probably many more books have come. This is the book I use, Excel Macros for Dummies. I might be having its PDF. I will try to upload it on that Google Drive. If there is one, I'll search for it. Else you can try to purchase it or maybe see if you can get its PDF. Okay, this is one book which has helped me. Today there can be actually very good YouTube channels also. I haven't explored, so I can't tell. Or let me take that as a homework. I'll try to find out some YouTube channels. I can share them. Okay, probably I will upload that on the Google Drive itself as a notepad file. Additional references. I'll do that.
Thank you, sir.
So,
So one question.
as the other participant suggested, basically continue with your learning. Okay, yes, Rituji, you have a question to ask?
Yeah, so I wanted to just ask you now. We have done only for 4 students. Had it this been your for 100 students or more than a number of students, then how do we have to write it manually, like for changing
No, no,
numbers?
no. See, that's the whole thing, na? Even if there are 1,000 students, how does it matter? Because I'm running my macro, I'm using a loop here. I'm saying this process needs to be repeated from first sheet till last sheet. From sheet number 1 to sheets.count. Whatever is the count of the sheet. Technically, in an Excel file, you can have 500 sheets also, no problem. So this code will get repeated again and again 500 times, 1,000 times. So you don't have to make a single change just because more sheets are there.
Okay, so got it.
So this is
And
scale
so,
independent. This is a scalable solution.
and so how does your module show in when I am doing it in modules? So how does this modules come?
So it comes from insert module. In insert tab, we have a module.
Oh, this
So
it's
this hours is actually the 10th, this is the 10th and the concluding session. Missed some of the earlier sessions. where we discuss these basics. In view tab, if you go, sorry, in insert tab, you can insert a module. In view tab, you have project explorer, which you can explore. So what I suggest to you is you also watch the some of the other YouTube recordings. If you have this entire series is recorded and is uploaded on the YouTube channel of WRC of ICMAI. So over there, you watch the initial lectures also. So then this one will make more sense to you. Okay.
Thank you, sir, for all the learnings and all the sessions. It was lovely and very knowledgeable session for us. Thank you so much.
Sir,
Yeah.
hello. Instead of the separate sheets, all the data are in one sheet, in one below the another, not on the marks basis. For each student separately, one below the another. Can you write like macros like this?
Yeah. Then the approach will be different. See, first of all, if they are one below the other, that means you may say these tables are one below the other. So yeah, that will be a different structure. We can do that way also. We can handle that situation also. We need to understand, we need to determine where each value starts, where each table starts, where each table ends, based on certain indicators like this SSC exam result. This is like a standard header. Percentage seems to be like a standard footer. Between this header and footer, you have a table and then you have the mark. So the approach will be different, but it can be done. Okay, this is for example, this is one structure when across sheets my data is lying. Okay, you may not compile SSC exam results. Okay, but the point is you have data which is spread across worksheets and the data is identical in structure. You want to compile some selected values, selected fields, and accordingly make it a tabular presentation. How you can do that? We have taken a sample example for that. Structure will be different in every situation or scenario. But generally, if you have a systematic structure, the structure could be anyhow, but if it is systematic, we can write a macro. If it is haphazard, if it is written anyhow, then macro may give you some mixed results, some correct results, some wrong results. And in any case, manual intervention is necessary. If it is well structured, if it is consistent, if it is disciplined, the structure could be anyhow, we can manage. That is very much possible. We can do
Thank
that.
you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Now I think it is
Have you
already
saved this file in this? Have you saved this file in the
Yeah, I
drive you
will
have
upload all the files. Somebody else has also requested that. So what I'll do is I'll upload all the files. Definitely this file I'll upload immediately and the other files also I will upload on the
same
Google
drive, sir.
Drive. Yeah, on the Google Drive link. Okay, I'll just share the link once more. I'm sharing the link once more, but just pick it up from there. I'll upload. Okay, I shared the link.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
now I think the questions are solved by the speaker. Now I will request Ashish Bhavsar, CMA Ashish Bhavsar, to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Gulkani sir. Hello, I am audible?
Yes,
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 you are
yes.
very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Gulkani sir. And today we are at the end of this our 10 this excellent uh, session, excellently done by Nachiket sir. And his every session we get good input and insight about Excel macros. And I thank you, Nachiket sir, for sparing this valuable time and providing such an insightful about Excel macros. I am also thankful to the our audience who is continuously interacting with this session and take the benefit of this whole series. I am also thankful to our WRC team. Even they are working till 9:30 for seamless going of webinars. And I'm also thankful to our Kulkarni sir for arranging such a wonderful webinar. So thank you very much, all of you. Nachiket sir, once again, we are thankful to you, and we will definitely try to make such a series with you again and again. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.